Hey there everyone, my name's Dave and this is my channel Draco Versus, and this is a little game you may or may not have heard of called Dark Souls 2. This one's been out for a while now and I absolutely love the Souls series and I love Dark Souls 2, and this run's just going to be more or less a little bit slower paced so that I can spend a bit of time discussing the enemies and the world. And hopefully you guys can learn a thing or two about the game. If you haven't already played this, hopefully this will convince you to buy the game because it's amazing. And most importantly, I hope we have fun. So this is the opening cinematic after the intro movie, and this is Things Betwixt. So starting point of our adventure. As they say, things betwixt a small dimensional rift that exists between Drangleic and the outside world. This seemingly peaceful limbo serves as a gateway between two realms. It lies deep within a shadowy cavern and transverses an ancient forest rising from a subterranean lake. 3 former firekeepers reside here with their caretaker, offering guidance to the undead who pass through on their quest to break the curse. The forest serves as a proving ground for visitors, and hides a great many secrets for those willing to seek them out. But beware, while the main road is relatively safe, straying from the beaten path can lead to a terrifying end before your journey has even begun. Now that's straight from the description of this place. Here you'll see me picking up a small, smooth and silky stone. I don't know about how many great secrets this place hides. We'll get into that soon, but for now, this is the Firekeepers.
What seems to be the ruckus?
Oh my, your face. The face of the curse. It's an undead. An undead has come to play. They all end up here. All the ones like you. You spoke to that kind old dear, didn't you?
You're finished. You'll go hollow. Yes, you'll become one of them.
Hollows prey upon men, feast upon their souls. This is the fate of the cursed.
What is your name?
That was pretty straightforward. Draco the Third it is.
At least you know your own name. Here's your reward for sharing. It's a human effigy.
Take a closer look.
Who do you think it's supposed to be? Think back, deep into your past. Yes, it's an effigy of you.
Alright, so this is character creation. So at this point, you've got 8 different classes to choose from. Scrolling through them, you can see warrior, knight, swordsman, even the bandit to a lesser extent are your sort of melee sword and shield classes. The cleric and the sorcerer are faith and obviously sorcery respectively. And then you've got the explorer, who's a little bit of everything. He starts with a lot of items, which is handy if you've never played the game before. And the deprived class, which is just a naked person with nothing. So I'm going to go ahead and here and start the knight class. Your gift doesn't make too much difference. There's all of these items you can get somewhere in the game anyway. I generally try and take the petrified something or the bonfire aesthetic just because they're the most useful to me. Petrified something at least can be traded very soon, which I'll show you guys as well. So I just edited out me creating the character.
All people come here for the same reason. To break the curse.
You're no different, I should think. Doesn't stand a chance.
Well, you never know. Go through the door and trot along to the kingdom. But remember, hold on to your souls. They're all that keep you from going hollow. Oh, I'll fool you no longer. You'll lose your souls. All of them. Over and over again.
As you can see there, they give you an item straight away. That's because of the new DLC that's just been released, the Dragon Talon. That'll come much later in our playthrough, but it's a key to get into the actual DLC. The main thing to take away from that conversation is the lady that was actually speaking to us was Strowan, who's the leader of the Firekeepers. And this here is Milibeth, the housekeeper.
A link between Drangleic and the outer world. Fair traveller, I know that you must have a story. Why else would you visit such a place? This lost, decayed kingdom. My name is Milibeth. The old women were once firekeepers. I am here to look after them. It is what my mother did, and her mother before her, and so on. The old women were keepers of the fire. But now, the fire shows signs of fading, and the kingdom is beset by hollows.
Alright, so Milibeth is there looking after the old ladies. Up here in this first treasure chest is a human effigy, most likely be people's first item or first chest. Firekeepers from Dark Souls 1. Yeah, obviously keepers of the fire, so anytime you would go to a bonfire there'd be a firekeeper there somewhere to keep it lit. And this is our first bonfire that we come across. What you can do at this one, especially when you first play through, you can light a torch there at that first bonfire and go ahead and light all of the torches around things betwixt. Especially when you're playing on computer or the PC version. The lighting effects and just the overall graphical quality are amazing, so it pays to have a torch in hand sometimes just to see how beautiful the world is. There's not much to worry about in this first area. Going through those fog gates is not going to put you up against anything particularly hard. There's just a few. These guys kind of resemble us before we created our character. Just some souls of lost undead. Two-handing my weapon at the beginning. There's not really any need for a shield here. It's all fairly straightforward. That there is the enemy they give you to practice backstabbing on. Up here you'll find a dagger, so if you start the deprived class that'll most likely be your first weapon that you pick up. It's a bit of a change from Dark Souls 1. Especially in terms of movement as well. A lot of it, or I think all of it, is motion captured now, so you can see it just looks wonderful and smooth, the animation. So that was a life gem. It's another new item that they've added here. It's another healing item, which... a great idea. It gives you another option for healing as well.
You! Give us smooth! Yes, you! Give us
So this is the crow's nest where you can drop items to trade for certain things. At the beginning of the game you can leave a petrified something and your small, smooth and silky stone. It's all random though. What items they give you in return are all random. But unlike old games, you don't have to quit the game and reload. You can actually just drop the item and it'll be available straight away. So as you can see, I've got a Twinkling Titanite and a Magic Stone. Both upgrade materials, and I love picking up upgrade materials for free. Make sure you kick that ladder down as well. I've done that a number of times. You'll need to run all the way around. If you kick that ladder down, you've got a nice, easy shortcut back here to trade, should you pick up any more of those items later on. So really all this area is just training. You can read these stone tablets and it gives you advice on the game. Nice picking up an amber herb which restores some spell casting if you're that way inclined and want to play a character that uses spells. Another cool mechanic is they've given you the ability to sprint or move faster up ladders by holding down the sprint button. But I think the biggest change in Dark Souls 2 is the fall damage that you take. In previous games, you could probably jump down from, 40 or 50 meters and not even take too much damage. In this game, if you fall from anywhere, more than 2 or 3 meters, you're going to take some sort of damage, and falling any further than that is going to inflict significant damage. This little part here can be trouble if you don't plan it out. You've got a guy there on the ground and you've also got an archer up there shooting you as well. You can get into a little bit of trouble, especially if you sort of freak out and don't stay calm. But really this isn't too much trouble at all. There's an interesting thing there to the right. There's a couple of giants down there in a little coffin. If you jump in there, it'll change the sex of your character. I'm not really sure why it's there, especially since most of the time you come there, you've just created your character, and I don't think you're going to want to change the sex of your character, so it's a little strange. But if you defeat those giants there and come back and talk to Millibeth, she'll give you the ladle. It's kind of a pointless item. I think it's a little bit of a joke, especially when you're playing online in PvP. If you pull out the ladle, it might surprise people. Now that we've got a sword though, you can come back here and follow these footprints up to a giant up here. It can be difficult, no matter how good you are at the game. At this point, if he catches you with any attack, he's probably going to kill you. So be very, very careful. There is a technique that I'll show you here. You can see me trying to wheel around the back. If you get behind him, you can just hit him and make him sit down on you. It's a much safer way of going. He'll just get caught in a loop where he'll try and sit on you forever. So here it is here. Just get 1 or 2 hits in, let him sit down. Don't get sat on. Probably goes without saying. So there it is. You can see that almost killed me there. reason for coming back here is to get that stone ring. It's a really, really good item. It's a little bit heavy for a ring. It does increase your equip burden quite a bit, especially at the beginning. But as you can see there, it inflicts extra poise damage, which is important in this game more so than ever. Anytime you hit the enemy, if you inflict poise damage, you're going to break their guard a bit easier. And stun lock them as well. So I would say 99% of all characters should come back there and get that ring. It's the only chance in the game you get to get that ring. But otherwise, I think we're pretty much done for things betwixt, which is good, so we can continue on with the main part of the adventure. As you can see, I am playing online, so hopefully we don't get invaded or get in trouble with people on here. Not that I mind a bit of PvP, but trying to make videos, yeah. Alright, so the beautiful Majula. The sun setting over this little harbour town. This is the main hub world. This is a lot like the Nexus from Demon Souls and the Firelink Shrine from Dark Souls 1. So there are a couple of items that you can pick up here before you go on. You've got a Divine Blessing there and also a little secret item here that I'll show you. I think by now most people are aware of this, but if not, here you go. So just between these two rocks here, you'll see a little platform. Just jump down on there and also down to this one. If you turn around, you should find yourself a Morning Star and a Cleric's Chime. Cleric's Chime will allow you to cast miracles if you've got enough faith points. And the Morning Star is not a bad weapon to pick up. I believe the Morning Star inflicts bleed damage just due to the spikes. And another cool item that you can't get anywhere else is the binoculars just there. So I'm going to have those equipped this whole playthrough just so that we can get a better look at things. It's nice that they let you use the binoculars in a weapon slot, I think, rather than how it was in Dark Souls 1 where it was, you know, an item that you had to use. So over there's the character we're going to go speak to next. You also see a little guy sitting up there on that stone pillar. I'll speak to him as well. But make sure to light this bonfire. Just in case you die, you can just come back to this one. If you don't light that bonfire and you die somewhere else, you're going to go back to things betwixt, which is never fun. But this is the Emerald Herald.
Are you the next monarch? Or merely a pawn of fate? Bearer of the curse, I will remain by your side till this frail hope shatters. Take this with you. May it ease your journey.
So there's our Estus flask.
Go on and see the king. He who made Drangleic what it once was. He who peered at the essence of the soul. King Vendrick.
But talking to her unlocks the ability to level up as well.
Bearer of the curse, seek misery. For misery will lead you to greater, stronger souls. You will never meet the king with a soul so frail and pallid. Seek those whose names are unutterable. The four endowed with immense souls. Their souls will serve as beacons. Once you have found them, return here to me, so that hope will not fade away. Bearer of the curse, seek souls, larger, more powerful souls. Seek the king. That is the only way. Lest this land swallow you whole, as it has
So
so
unlike
many
Dark
others.
Souls 1, Dark Souls 2 is more like Demon Souls in the fact that you need to come back and actually speak to her to level up rather than just leveling up at bonfires. It's a bit of a pain in the ass. having to come back here every time. Doesn't make too much difference. If you're playing on PlayStation or Xbox, the load times between areas can be a real pain in the ass, so 30 to 40 seconds, whereas on computer it's only 5 or 6 seconds, which makes it a little bit better travelling.
Aren't you? You have that distinct scent, the smell of irreversible
This guy here
fate.
is Salden, the crestfallen warrior.
This
Let's
is
listen to what he
Majula.
has to say.
It is a kind of settlement. A place where life is almost normal. And in Drangleic these days, there are very few
Very
places
true.
like that. I am Salden. And like you, I lost everything. And now I'm here. You probably heard that it was possible to break the curse here. Well, that's not true at all. There's nothing here for you, me, or anybody. Do you know much about souls? Even I'm not certain, but I'm told that the soul is the essence of life itself. Anything living, sentient or no, supposedly has one. What we call the curse is traceable to the soul. Do you see what that means? To be alive, to walk this earth. That's the real curse, right?
There's a lot of metaphors for life itself and humanity itself, which in this game,
will never die.
really deep if you take the time to understand
And
what's
that's
going on.
Quite a predicament, really.
Poor old Salden is a throwback to the crestfallen knights that appear at the beginning of both Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1.
Land with giant souls. And wherever you go from here, you'll sooner or later come up against them. Each has a powerful soul and a terrible curse. If that frightens you, then you ought to just give up right now. Like I have. Do you ever cry out for help? The journey of an undead is long and treacherous. You'll face invaders from other worlds at every turn. If you need help, why not proclaim faith in the Blue Sentinels? When you face danger, the Blue Sentinels will come to your aid. Protection is yours, if you wish. You need only accept their kind embrace.
So that's the first covenant you can join. The Way of the Blue Covenant, there's not much to it. It gives you the blue seal, which when you wear that, if you get invaded, members of the Blue Sentinels Covenant will come and show up and help you.
People are weak, but the Blue Sentinels watch over us in their benevolence.
It does offer a lot of interesting information as well.
Let the Sentinels cradle you in their embrace.
Other than that, though, there's very little point in actually speaking to him after you've sort of learnt what he has to say the first time. But Majula is a hub world, so there's going to be plenty of NPCs to speak to later on. A few items that you can pick up as well. There's a soul there that you can spend and get currency.
Who are you?
This here is Leningrass the blacksmith.
Just help me open this door. I packed my tools in here, seeing it was vacant. But now somebody's gone and locked the door. I'm a blacksmith. I'm nothing without my tools. Bring me that key.
As you can see, poor old Leningrass is going hollow himself already. Doesn't seem to be able to get into his workshop even though there's an open window right behind him. So, another life gem. And in here is Shalquar the cat.
Oh, dead, are we? And one without much time remaining. Just about ready to fall apart, I'd say. Not exactly the time to be chatting with a cat. Well, suit yourself. Oh yes, you may call me
Enchante.
Chamois. Enchante.
Voice acting in this game is very, very good,
So,
as
what
it
did you
normally
want
is
anyway?
with the Soul series.
Ooh, you smell wonderful. This place is already dead. Everything will crumble and waste away so that something new may be born. Isn't it wonderful? This place is fascinating. We receive only the most peculiar visitors. Folk like yourself. It's enough to keep even a cat amused. Are you going to see the old ones? Those four who have grown so incredibly ancient. They must have sprouted quite a thick coat of moss by now. For heaven's sake, no one even knows their names anymore. Imagine that. Yes, nothing like yourself. For you have a most pleasant scent that grows nicer with each passing day.
So reading between her lines of dialogue, she offers a little bit of insight into the history of Drangleic. She sells a few interesting items as well: the Ring of the Evil Eye, the Silver Cat Ring, which helps you jump, or helps you not take damage when you fall, the Red Eye Ring, which makes you the top priority. Name Engraved Ring is good for PvP so that you can do a bit of matchmaking. And the Ring of Whispers is important so that you can hear enemies and speak their tongue. Not a lot of exposition given as to how she got there. She reminds me a lot of Alvina from Dark Souls 1, some cat with the ability to talk. Sells a few, some useful, some useless items. She's got the Homeward Bones, which you can find anywhere. Lloyd's Talisman. It's always handy to have a Lloyd's Talisman on you in case you run into a mimic chest.
Nothing suited you, I presume? Well, that's dismaying.
Prism stones to mark your way, a bit like the Ore Guide of Guidance. That door for now is locked. You can unlock that pretty shortly, and probably the most important thing in Majula is this Estus Flask shard that you can pick up here. So already you can double your Estus Flask capacity straight off the bat. In here is our armourer, clearly who sells us armour. But up here is another one of my favourite things, another free upgrade material, so a Titanite shard. So this is Morglin.
Hello there. Welcome to my shop. I'm Morlin, and I sell armor. Oh, sorry, Please do have a look at my wares. I could really use the business. If you'd be so kind.
So you can see he sells the Iron Palmer, which is the warrior's starting shield. Also that Great Shield and the Silver Eagle Kite Shield, which is probably the best of the lot. Sells the warrior's starting gear and also the knight starting gear, as well as the infantry armor as well. So if you do spend enough souls with him, I believe it's about 12 or 13,000 off the top of my head, he'll start selling a bit of different gear.
Well, I do hope I see you again. Well, thank you for coming back. Do take a look at my wares. I came from the west, from Volgan. Have you been there? It's a lively place, vibrant with trade. Very competitive, of course. And you have to grease the wheels to get anywhere. But I didn't have the funding for that, so I left home in hopes of striking gold. It's been years since then, and I've made very little headway. I don't even know why I'm still here. Everything's all run down and dying. It's terrible.
So he's the first one to reveal that the curse actually makes people lose their mind and their memory.
Well, I do hope I see you again.
Coming back to him later on, you'll see just how much of his memory he's about to lose. His character changes completely with money. But that is it for Majula. So we're going to go on to the first area here, which is the Forest of the Fallen Giants. I'm going to come around here and pick up this item here. So I believe in the next video we're going to look at the Forest of the Fallen Giants and encounter the first couple of bosses. But already you can see the wonderful atmosphere that they've built into this game. It's really a high fantasy setting rather than sort of the dark fantasy of Dark Souls 1 and Demon Souls. And this is only the beginning of the journey. Jumping just down there to find a human effigy. But that'll just about do it for this video, so stay tuned for part 2. I'll upload that one very shortly, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Peace out.